Bruce, do you want to grab the microphones back there?
Hi, my name's Ron. I live in Texas. So I guess this is mostly directed at at Jim and maybe Carl as well. I'm interested about the role whistleblowers might play in your advisory panels. I use this language of integrity first and safety in the environment. I know that this year, former TransCanada engineer Evan Vokes just was awarded Whistleblower of the Year by the Council of Canadians for blowing the whistle on shoddy engineering practices on TransCanada's Bison Line, which ruptured in its first year. Or to go a few years further back, John Bolenbaugh in Michigan blew the whistle on Enbridge, covering up its shoddy cleanup efforts in the Kalamazoo River, where they were just pouring dirt into the marshes over tar sands instead of removing them. Are these individuals that you're actively reaching out to or interested in having on your advisory board? It seems like these are folks that put themselves on the line in a very meaningful way to stand for safety in the environment, and their unfettered insights, to use your language, might be exactly what you're looking for.
Ron, thanks for the question. I would say, first of all, that I haven't personally met the individuals. I've worked with the association for this past 2 years. I can attest to the fact that the manner in which we sought out the individuals, with the degree of integrity such as Carl, is reflective of everybody who's on that panel. And as I say, it was interesting, with the board and how that selection process unfolded, because there was a sincere desire to make sure that we got highly credible skeptics, critics, people who would speak their mind. There was also a desire to make sure that we perhaps didn't get folks on the panel who were simply looking for a soapbox from which to deliver messages that would never that went far beyond constructive criticism, if you will, in terms of the slide that Carl offered for us to give consideration to. So, I haven't personally spoken with those individuals, but it is that type of mindset that says, show me and allow me to judge you by what you are doing. As Carl has said, time will tell in terms of where we get to. And you saw the chart that showed a wide variety of interests, and by no means, and it's the other piece that I'd offer by way of consideration is, as we think about it going forward, like how much work do we want to do with the people who are on the panel, and do we want to reach out to them for views too often, or do we want to, because we don't want to co-opt their thinking, we want them to be independent critics every time they come in that room, and that they do hold us to account. So I think the only whistleblower consideration is, how do you have that quality of constructive conversation in the room without not wanting to constrain it so that, individuals like Carl can absolutely speak his mind and his truth. There are obviously some elements that need to be confidential in terms of Chatham House rules, so that you're not putting a laser beam directly on things. But what I can say in terms of how Integrity First is evolving is that the conversations like conditions of membership in our association will be predicated upon company performance. We're not the type of association that will simply look at members. If you show up with a check and you'd like to join the association, it's going to be, well, show me your operating history first of all, and are you willing to sign up to the performance expectations that this association is now establishing for itself, and moving towards disaggregated reporting of company performance. And I'd allow you to judge far better than I of individuals such as Carl in terms of making sure that data is going to be absolutely accurate and hold us accountable, which is exactly why the panel is established.
Good morning. My name is Frank Bebo, and I think this question is probably more towards Dana or Melanie, but I thought it was interesting that from 2010 to go from 4 interveners to 400 interveners, and then looking at Carl's slide that had, hello, my name is Sellout. In Minnesota, we have a lot more people participating right now in our public process because it appears the government left to its own devices is just going to go down the road and eventually grant whatever's going on. And so my question is, do you think the 400 organizations that are intervening or seeking to intervene are coming out so much because they can't rely on the people who are supposed to protect our environment and other resources, and they don't understand why government isn't actually maybe ruling one out once in a while? It seems like everything is always granted.
I think there's a number of reasons that people are coming out more. I think as a society, we've turned our minds to environmental issues much more, and we're more concerned about it, and we want to be involved in the decision making. I mean, that's just clearly why people are now coming out today than they were before in droves. And there is a high level of mistrust out there. And in the regulator, in the government, in the industry, people don't trust what's happened before and why they want it to change. We are really struggling to address that trust issue as an organization, as an independent regulator, because we work on behalf of Canadians. That is our mandate, and that is the passion of almost every single employee who works at the board. And so our processes have to change. And in terms of your comment about projects always getting approved, I think it's a little bit complicated in the sense that companies that propose projects, they have a whole 50 years of history of the board's decision making. They know what's going to be likely to be approved. So they're not going to come with something that has a high chance of not being approved. And so that sometimes gives the impression we always approve. There are projects we have not approved in the past, and but that history allows companies to have a really good shot at it. And what we also do is that we put conditions on projects that ensure that the impacts of those projects will be minimized or eliminated, the risks that they pose. So when you see a project approved, like the Gateway project, Enbridge's Gateway project had 209 conditions attached to it. That's the most conditions we've ever put on any project, and they all get at the heart of environmental protection and protecting the rights of those people affected along the right-of-way and Aboriginal groups. So while it is approved, I'm not sure Enbridge would feel like it was a low bar that they had to leap over to get this project approved. So that's some of the context, I think.
Can I actually respond to that, please?
Sure, please.
Mm-hmm. As one of the interveners on both the 2008 project, who was one of the four, and on the existing project where there's 400, in Canada, there needs to be a lot more work, and it is starting to create awareness of what some industry and development does to our backyards, and that money isn't the solution to everything. But that's only really just beginning. There has been, and even to be an intervener, I want to give you some concept, and I mean, we don't have a large staff. There's actually two of us that work in my office, and I sometimes get up to 100 plus emails a day just on one project through the regulatory process, from lawyers and from all these industrial scientists and biologists, and to even begin to understand that as just a person, Joe Public person, is overwhelming. So it's tough being an intervener and to stand up to that. And landowners and everybody can apply to be an intervener that are directly impacted by an industrial project. But the thing is who's got the time in their lives to be able to do all this stuff? Because the pipeline projects are one issue for us, but we're not just involved in pipeline projects. I know this morning I was addressing emails where there's a coal mine, a new strip mine that's being proposed, and The NEB wants me to get my application in there and meet with them, and so it's every day, and there's 100 projects going on, and how do you get involved with all those things? It's really, really tough, and it isn't made easy by any of these processes, and it's not easily understood by Joe Public to get engaged and get involved.
All right, we're out of time, so we're going to cut it off there. I just want to thank this panel one last time. And I think they've given us some good things to think about. If you think about the Pipeline Safety Trust, who oftentimes ends up being drawn in to represent the public at events, we have never intervened on a FERC case because we don't have the time to intervene on a single FERC case because of the amount of time it takes, as Melanie just described. We're so involved with pipeline safety stuff, FERC only deals with routing, that we've chosen never to intervene in a FERC case because it would divert from our other things we're trying to do. So I think we all need more resources and more reinforcements to take a part in some of these processes.